Hi Pop-Tarts. Today I'm going to do something that I think a lot of people would agree is long overdue on this channel, and that is to chat a little bit more about chaos magic, which I know I flirted with a long time ago when I created a video about the 6 principles of chaos magic, which has been viewed a fair few times now. I'd argue that it has probably been viewed more than any other video that I've made, but I haven't actually checked. But it's yeah, it's definitely like the second thing that comes up when you search chaos magic on Google and you look for videos. I don't know if any of you read the Chaos Witches blog, but I've read it for quite some time now, and she did mention recently that chaos magic has kind of done the rounds in popular culture of late. The Guardian wrote an article about chaos magic as it relates to art and fashion. And just, yeah, people kind of got into it for 5 minutes, so I think that might have been why that particular video saw a spike in views. I remember when I first read about chaos magic, and it occurred to me that the moniker that's popularly associated with it in terms of people that practice it is chaos magician, and I didn't like that. First of all, because I think of magician as much more of a has much more of a masculine / like male vibe to it, and I don't see myself as ever using that moniker for myself as a woman. And second of all, because even though for me the word magician has a tarot association to it, of course, and a kind of archetypal association to it, it also does have a little bit of a rabbit out of the hat children's birthday party vibe as well. So I wanted to be called a chaos witch. I felt that that suited me down to the ground, and I actually searched chaos witch to see what would come up, and I discovered the chaos witch. And then I remember later on finding out that she chose that moniker for very similar reasons to me, that she just didn't feel like magician vibed with her at all. So I've been interested in chaos magic for a while now, and practicing chaos magic theory, if you will, for a while. I do not claim to be an expert on it. It's just something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I, for the most part, have actually been quite private about so far, and I think that has frustrated some people, and I'm going to try and loosen up on that just a little bit. But I definitely, you know, can't promise to be all things to all people, and I can't promise that I'm going to be able to give you everything in a neat little nutshell, and you'll never have to go and read a book or, you know, explore or expand beyond what I'm going to tell you. I actually would much prefer that you did not just stop with me, you know, that you didn't just kind of use me as a one-stop shop for your understanding of chaos magic. If it's something that you are interested in, please do read widely, and please do explore deeply, and please do, you know, get hideously lost in any, you know, chaos magic laced part of the cybersphere that you can possibly find. The darker and the weirder the better. Definitely go out and find other things. It's definitely not just me. I'm just one chaos bitch in a sea of chaos bitches, and I'm definitely not, you know, I'm not the oracle. I don't have all the fucking answers. If you want to start anywhere, if you're interested in starting anywhere, I'd start with Peter J. Carroll and Phil Hine. Just start here, here, and here. Hello, men. If you haven't seen my video on the 6 principles of chaos magic, I'll link it in the doobly-doo. It was filmed on a potato. I do film on a camera with like better audio quality now, but if you can, you know, if you can turn the headphones up or turn your speakers up, whatever, and indulge in a little bit of me rambling about the 6 principles of chaos magic, it might give you a good starting point. There's also a video that I did some time ago, again it was filmed on a potato, and it's about magical models and possibilities. That also might be a good starting point if you want to understand more about why I personally favour chaos magic as a framework, and just a little bit about the various different models that magic actually can fall under, and how chaos magic is kind of the theory that supports using any one of them and not really getting hung up on which one of them happens to be the truth, but instead just accepting that, you know, there is definitely a strong possibility that any one of them could be true and useful at any given moment. If you've not seen that video about magical models and possibilities, again, it's in the doobly-doobly-doo for your viewing pleasure. Today I want to myth bust. I think that's going to be the plan. Some people that have a grounding in this theory that we call chaos magic will maybe disagree with me, And, you know, there's definitely not a one-size-fits-all agenda when it comes to chaots and what we believe and what we practice and shit like that. In fact, I would say that we're quite Discordian in our nature. The Discordians have this little axiom, and, you know, they like to say that they like to stick apart. So rather than sticking together, you know, they like to stick apart, meaning their only unity comes from their complete lack of cohesion and organisation, their complete lack of dogma. Like, everybody is doing their own thing, and that's what makes them all a unit in some way. And I think, you know, it's fair to say that a lot of that does the rounds in chaos magic as well. So I definitely am not, you know, speaking for everybody by any fucking means. And again, this is why I think people need to go and have their own adventures and learn their own things and start a notebook, you know, just really, if you want to get into this stuff, then definitely don't take my word for it. And, you know, that is one of the principles of chaos magic, is not to take other people's word for it. You know, don't be an armchair occultist. Don't be somebody that just reads the book and assumes that the book must be true because somebody took it to a publishing house and they said, yes, we'll publish this book. Like, don't be that person. Get your hands dirty, roll up your fucking sleeves, have your own magical experiences and record them, you know. That's actually a principle of chaos magic. So I'm only asking you to do what any chaot would ask you to do, which is, you know, get on the fucking rodeo yourself, ride the bull for yourself. Don't take my word for it. With that being said, I have noticed that in the last year or so, there have been a few like things being said about chaos magic, or certain things being alluded to in relation to chaos magic, that I definitely feel like I at least would like to use my platform to kind of straighten out somewhat, because I feel like some people have gotten a wonky idea of what chaos magic is. I feel like maybe some people have taken the term chaos magic absolutely at face value, which is somewhat of a mistake, because chaos magic is a very misleading term for what chaos magic theory actually is. So I feel like some things have gone a little bit wonky and some people have just found themselves way off track, way over here somewhere, and I just want to pull us all back together just for a little bit in the occult playpen, just for a moment, so we can all establish that we're singing from the same hymn sheet. First of all, chaos magic is not another term for eclectic witchcraft. The term eclectic witchcraft and the term chaos magic or chaos magic theory are absolutely not interchangeable. You cannot swap one out for the other. They are not the same thing. The terms are separate and they describe different things that are happening. You are not a chaos magician or a chaos witch or a chaot or a practitioner of chaos magic theory just because you work with pantheons that are different to each other, like deities from different pantheons, or just because you you know, you swap and change out what you do at your altar, or just because you want to have something on your altar that might be unorthodox, or just because you know, tend to disagree with certain practitioners of witchcraft on certain things. Like, that doesn't make you a chaot. The essence of being a chaos magician or a chaos witch or a practitioner of chaos magic isn't just to have an eclectic practice, okay? It's not just to have forged your own set of beliefs that are your personal philosophy. When you forge your own set of beliefs and your own path and your own way of doing things, then you are an eclectic practitioner, be you solitary or coven-based or whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you subscribe to chaos magic theory, that you understand chaos magic theory, or that you are practicing chaos magic theory. I hope that I have made that clear, because I feel like that's one of the key mistakes, personally in my view, mistakes that's kind of floating around. You know, you can totally be an eclectic witch and not be a chaos magician, a chaos practitioner, a chaot, a chaos witch, or any of those other things. Many eclectic witches and eclectic, you know, practitioners of magic, they forge their own set of beliefs, they take from different traditions, they align themselves with what feels right for them, and they develop their own magical philosophy and their own magical principles, and that is beautiful. But actually that doesn't any less make it into a system of belief that somebody has decided to chain themselves to. It doesn't matter how far out and wild and wonderful your system of belief is. If it's a system of belief to which you are always ascribed and to which you definitely feel clicks into your core personality and which you never deviate from, then you're not practicing chaos magic theory, okay? You still have a system of belief, it just happens to be very colourful and very marvellous and very individual to you. Chaos magic kind of thrives on the idea that whatever beliefs you could set up and base your practice around are not the truth, and they are not the only way, and they are not by any means the only avenue that you can go down. Chaos magic does away with this notion of what is ultimately true. It says, what about if nothing is true? What about if everything is just possibility? What about if we wade into the spectrum of possibility and we select what might work for that moment in time? And what about if we remain completely open to the notion that anything can work in the right circumstances at the right time for the right reasons, you know, in the way that we want it to? What about if we don't form a hierarchy of belief? What about if we don't do that? What about if instead we are open to the fact that in the next 5 seconds anything could happen, even the thing that we never thought possible? To be a practitioner of chaos magic theory, you have to kind of be willing to kill your baby. And by that I mean that you have to be willing to let go of all of your beliefs that your ego has clung onto, that your ego thinks are Shangri-La, that your ego thinks are the right way. And you have to be willing to step into a completely different pair of shoes, a pair of shoes that doesn't really reflect what your ego thinks you are. So for example, for me, my ego is very much kind of attracted to this idea that I worship the Norse goddess of the underworld, and I have a largely goddess-centered practice, that I bring pop culture and icons and kids' toys and, you know, other things that appear to be unrelated to magic into my practice. My ego is keen on these different ideas to do with who I think I am as a magical practitioner and what I actually believe. My ego likes archetypes, my ego likes experimental magic, maybe magic that's a little on the risky side. My ego likes to kind of mess with that magical maverick kind of role. As a practitioner of chaos magic theory though, there's this thing that I like to do where I just shrug all of that off completely and I become a theistic Satanist for 6 months. It's a form of mystical role-playing, mystical method acting, if you will, where you completely just transmutate and you shed that skin that your ego clings onto and that your ego is so convinced is you and who you are. Chaos magic practitioners actually just leave that shit behind purposefully. They make themselves feel intentionally uncomfortable in the spirit of honouring the realm of possibility beyond what their ego has decided is the right thing. Now you're beginning to understand how an eclectic witch is quite a different thing from a chaos magic practitioner, right? Okay, there's a clear line of demarcation. You can be an eclectic witch with a very colourful practice, but never at any point on your journey would you want to leave all of that behind and become, you know, a traditional coven-based Wiccan or a theistic Satanist or a Luciferian or a person that believes that fairies exist at the end of the garden. Like, you know, an eclectic witch can very much have their path and their practices for their entire life and not wish to deviate from that in any way beyond the natural evolutions of belief. A chaos magic practitioner wants to party with some far out fucking shit that really has nothing to do with where they've ever been in life or who they think that they really are. They want to freak their ego out. They want to deconstruct their sense of what it means to be them as a magical being. They want to get good and lost for a while. That's kind of the beauty of the chaos magic theory, and that's how it doesn't pertain really to eclectic witchcraft. The two are very different animals. Another myth that I see bandied around a hell of a lot is this idea that chaos magic is unruly, undisciplined, chaotic, messy, mad, that it leads to insanity, that it's just like it's sloppy or it's random as fuck, and it's not really got any thread that holds everything together, and it's not really to do with discipline. It's quite the opposite of discipline. It's almost reckless, it's almost frantic. And people get this from the name, okay? Chaos magic sounds like it does exactly what it says on the tin. It sounds like it is supposed to be chaotic, that it's supposed to be the opposite of order. But actually this is a common mistake. It's a mistake that I'm seeing made more when people talk about chaos magic in broad terms or in general terms who haven't really done any reading about it. And I can definitely forgive people thinking that, but that's actually not the case. I remember once, the first time I talked about my book of chaos that I'm creating, I talked about it in a video and I said, you know, it's kind of very methodical, and I'm looking at laying it out in a way that is very kind of strategic and regimented so that everything is where I want it to be. And I remember underneath the video somebody commenting saying, isn't it so funny that your book of chaos is so structured and orderly when it's supposed to be all about your work as a chaos witch? Like, it's so contradictory. And I remember just saying like, haha, funny indeed, or whatever. But like inside me, I was thinking, maybe I should explain to that person that it's not contradictory and that actually magical record keeping is a massive part of what it means to be a decent chaos magic practitioner. And I'm kind of saying that now for the record. There is nothing contradictory about having a methodical record keeping book if you are a chaos magic practitioner. Actually, if you're doing all of these different experiments and delving into realms of possibility, then you're going to need to methodically and very strategically record what you have done and what you have tried. And if you have agreed with yourself that you're going to create your own system based on what works, then you're going to need to record what you did so you can see whether or not it worked, and then you can see whether or not you want to do it again or whether or not you want to discard it in favour of something else. Chaos magic theory takes a lot of discipline. It actually takes a lot of discipline. It's actually mostly just about the mind. It's about training and shaping and bending the mind. It's about playing with the mind. It's about using the mind as a Stretch Armstrong doll. It's about seeing how far you can take something and how much you can deconstruct your egoic beliefs around something. It's about how much you can leave yourself at the door and actually succumb to the possibility that other things are just as true and other things are just as effective. Even things that you don't feel really symbolise you and don't have much to do with what you think you are in your ego. You know, chaos magic theory is fucking deep because quite a lot of the time it's just about stepping out of your skin. It's stepping out of your accepted definition of your own identity. There's this idea that chaos magic is for uncommonly cool like occult kids, and you can't sit at the chaos magician's table because they're all just like too cool, and you know, it's a secret little club for the elite of the elite or whatever, and that's definitely a massive bunch of bullshit. I've met chaotes online from all over the place in all different walks of life with all different kinds of attitudes. There definitely is a certain attitude that can be ascribed to chaotes, and certain things have been written about this online actually, like just about why so many chaos magicians that you come across online seem to be arseholes, seem to be dickheads, seem to be trolls, or seem to be like unbearable edgelords. And in fact, I've written something about this myself. I'm wondering if the Chaos Witch has written something about it as well. I know I've seen one article online that was written a long time ago about why chaos magicians are pricks or whatever. I'll try and leave what I can anyway in the doobly-doo links wise. It's kind of like this commonly accepted thing that is talked about from time to time about why people that favour chaos magic are like mean or surly or misogynistic or just think they're above it or are edgelords or are like, you know, they bait people or whatever. And I definitely think that there can be a truth to the fact that chaos magic attracts people who might be looking for that edge and might be looking for that feeling of a superior power source, or might be looking for something that feels a little bit kind of, I don't know, something a little bit like serves their ego, you know, like kind of allows them to feel arrogant in some strange way. It's not for uncommonly cool occult kids, and it's not for people that aren't you, and you're not invited to the party and all the rest of it. Like, I think that's a misconception that some people have, like it's not accessible, and you know, it's just for people that understand something that you can never really get the hang of. Like, you know, it's totally accessible. You can order books about it on Amazon, you can get into it. There's no club, there's no hierarchy, there's no secret back door, there's, you know, none of that. In fact, you know, when you read from Phil Hine's perspective about chaos magic and how and why it was brought into being, it's very much about breaking down hierarchy and breaking down dogma and rejecting things like secret societies and hierarchy-based learning and all that kind of thing, and the grand high priestess witch of the, you know, 7th dimension or whatever. Chaos magic is a real grassroots kind of punk fuck you paradigm. It's like it says goodbye to all that. It says not interested, like whatever, I'm gonna make it at home myself with £2.50 and it's gonna be perfect. Like, that's kind of much more the vibe that I get from chaos magic, and that one should get from chaos magic if they're understanding it correctly. There are some edgelords for sure online that are calling themselves chaos magicians, but please don't think that don't tar us all with the same bloody brush. Please don't. Another misconception that has been doing the rounds for a long time about chaos magic is that chaos magic involves drugs, orgies, and going insane. It can involve all of those things, but it's not really all that common, and it's certainly not a prerequisite, and it's certainly not something that is like widely suggested as a good idea. When you look into chaos magic theory, what you're really doing is you're looking into that idea that the realm of possibility is everything that is the case, the world is everything that is the case, and we can take from it and drink from it and learn from it outside of the bounds of what it means to be us as individuals, outside of the bounds of our conditioning and what we think we know about the universe and the way it works. So in the midst of that, you are probably going to come up against some things that do bend your mind marvellously and smash it like an egg with a frying pan. And you've got to learn to kind of enjoy that along the way. You've got to learn to not be afraid of that. And my personal belief is that if people are afraid of having those mind-bending experiences where they fuck with magic and then everything turns on its axis and the universe looks different, then I don't think that they should practice chaos magic theory. I straight up don't think that they should practice it. I don't think they're ready for it. I don't think it's attractive or appealing to them, and therefore it's not for them. And it's okay if something is not for you. There are plenty of things in the occult and in personal development and in, you know, all kind of aspects of life that are not for me. They're just not for me, and that is okay. And so I kind of feel like, yeah, not everybody is going to fall under the umbrella of people who say, yeah, I am going to shed my ego and deconstruct everything and, you know, like actually open myself up to things that I never thought were the case. That isn't for everybody, and that's okay. Like, it's not important for everybody to come to the fucking party. It really isn't. It's way better if somebody is deeply attracted to the idea of chaos magic theory and is like, shit, this is what I've been looking for, or this is what I've already kind of been doing, or this is what I really want to explore more of. This is really exciting. Those people should RSVP. If someone hears about chaos magic theory and they say, oh, it sounds like it might be weird, or it sounds like a bit undisciplined or chaotic or unbearable or negative or scary, or like it might go to a bad place, or then it's chaos magic isn't for them. They can leave it on the buffet table. Like, more for me, really, is how I view it. I'm going to leave you with something for now that I think might help you to understand a little bit more about what chaos magic is and where you can come from with it. I think that a big thing that confuses a lot of people about chaos magic is its name. And so let's just have a look at some definitions here for you, okay? So the first definition of chaos, the one that is most commonly known and commonly accepted and widely kind of thought of when we say the word, is complete disorder and confusion. Synonyms include mayhem, pandemonium, madness, havoc, turmoil, commotion, disruption, upheaval. A lot of these things seem unhelpful, unsavoury, maybe just kind of pointless. They definitely seem to allude to a lack of discipline in the practice, and maybe just a kind of nihilism and a sense that what one is doing doesn't really matter. And all of those things are actually really very false. If you meet anybody who really is into chaos magic theory, who has like read Spare and Hine and Peter J. Carroll and, you know, like, and really is kind of interested in it and partaking in it, you're very, very rarely, if ever, going to find that they are a nihilistic, undisciplined person who doesn't really have any sense of what they're doing magically and is a bit of a flippity-gibbet. You know, that something that is really a mistake about chaos magic is that it's associated with things like a lack of discipline, a lack of direction, a lack of focus, havoc, madness, and all those kinds of things. A lot of people think that chaots do one thing on one night and one thing on another night, and they never really stick at anything, and they're a bit of a will-o'-the-wisp, and they're a bit of flippity-gibbet, and everything's just a bit mad. Actually, chaos magic theory takes the most amount of discipline really possible of anything that I've come across in the occult in terms of theories. You could meet a chaot who's been a practicing Wiccan for 10 years just because they've been fucking with that paradigm for 10 years. They really want to get into it. They really want to see what's at the end of that tunnel. You will meet chaos magicians who are in ashrams or in meditation retreats or, you know, sitting for like 12 hours a day or whatever. A chaos magician can select a paradigm within which to work and within which to learn lessons, and they can stick with that paradigm for the longest fucking time. For the longest time. Until they're completely absorbed in it, until it's completely a part of them, and then leave it behind and go on to something else because they've learned everything that they can learn. Chaos magic is not about just fucking with one thing and then another thing with no real discipline and no real sense of, you know, because you need to take the time to get invested in the mindscape. You need to actually become absorbed inside the role. The word chaos in relation to chaos magic theory is actually much more about the physics than it is about like the descriptive / mythological notion of what chaos is. So underneath the key definition, which is complete disorder and confusion, you've got these other two definitions which are subheaded with physics. And these other two definitions are much more revealing and helpful in terms of you understanding what chaos magic theory actually is. The first one says, the property of a complex system whose behaviour is so unpredictable as to appear random, owing to great sensitivity to small changes in conditions. So this is chaos theory. This basically is linked to chaos theory perfectly. It's the science of surprises, the science of the unpredictable, the science of random things happening and one thing happening to change another thing in a completely unpredictable and unforeseen way. The second physics subheaded definition is the formless matter supposed to have existed before the creation of the universe. This, I think, is the key way in which a definition could help you to understand what chaos magic theory is. If you think of chaos as the formless matter that's supposed to have existed before the creation of the universe, the swirling essences, the formless gases, that perfect nonsense of complexity, then you can think about that as the realm of absolute possibility from which any one thing can be plucked and merged with anything else. You can think about it as what was happening before something came into tangibility. It's the realm of what's possible. Okay, out of which nothing has yet become tangible, but all the fuel is there, the power is there, everything is there almost for you to pluck from. That to me is the most helpful definition for serving me in my understanding of what chaos magic theory is, because it's just taking that and applying that to the way that you perceive what you can do in magic, what is available to you in magic. What beliefs, what principles, what activities, what experiments are available to you. And it's this idea that it's a swirling essence of possibility from which anything could happen and anything could become possible. I'm now going to read you a paragraph from fractalfoundation.org, which I think will also further serve to help you understand more about chaos magic. It says, chaos is the science of surprises, of the non-linear and the unpredictable. It teaches us to expect the unexpected. While most traditional science deals with supposedly predictable phenomena like gravity, electricity, or chemical reactions, chaos theory deals with non-linear things that are effectively impossible to predict or control, like turbulence, weather, the stock market, our brain states, and so on. These phenomena are often described by fractal mathematics, which captures the infinite complexity of nature. Many natural objects exhibit fractal properties, including landscapes, clouds, trees, organs, rivers, etc. And many of the systems in which we live exhibit complex, chaotic behaviour. Recognising the chaotic fractal nature of our world can give us new insight, power, and wisdom. For example, by understanding the complex chaotic dynamics of the atmosphere, a balloon pilot can steer a balloon to a desired location. By understanding that our ecosystems, our social systems, and our economic systems are interconnected, we can hope to avoid actions which may end up being detrimental to our long-term well-being. So actually, chaos magic theory is about tinkering, learning, observing, adopting the archetype of the scientist, seeing that these things that seem unrelated, that seem unpredictable, that seem as though we can't control them, actually are connected to us. If we understand them, we can get in there and start to tweak them and tinker with them and understand how we can be effectual toward them just as they are towards us. This part is so powerful. Recognising the chaotic fractal nature of our world can give us new insight, power and wisdom. And I'm going to leave it there for now, and maybe I'll come back and talk about some principles of chaos theory in science and how that might help us to further understand what's possible in the realm of magic and what's possible in the realm of the impossible, I guess. What's possible in terms of exploring new things we don't know yet, capabilities we didn't know we had. So exciting. I'm just feeling so bubbly, I'm glowing, I just love talking about it. I hope this has been interesting and useful to you. Much love until next time, blessed be.